Where do Indonesians get their news? Do they trust the news? Which news brands are most trusted in Indonesia? These questions and more will be answered in this video. Halo, apa kabar? Semoga baik. Hari ini akan bicara tentang berita di Indonesia. Tapi maafkan saya, videonya akan dalam bahasa Inggris saja. Mostly. Overall, most Indonesians get their news from online sources. Online sources are both online news websites from media organizations as well as social media and messaging apps. 79% of Indonesians say they go online for their news. If we just look at social media and messaging apps, we can see that it's very popular. They're very popular. 60% of Indonesians go to social media or messaging apps for their news. However, TV still has a big place for Indonesians and their news consumption. Almost half of Indonesians say that they watch TV for news. Newspapers, on the other hand, are less popular. About 3 years ago, 20% of Indonesians said that they read a physical newspaper, whereas now that's dropped to 9%. If you know anything about Indonesia, you know most people use WhatsApp. 46% of Indonesians say they use WhatsApp for news. The second most popular digital platform for news is YouTube, with 41% of Indonesians going to YouTube for their news. In Indonesia, TikTok is the only digital platform to have increased its popularity. Now 29% of Indonesians say they go to TikTok for their news. For mainstream news organizations, the report splits it into offline and online. Offline news naturally includes TV, radio, and print media, newspapers and magazines. The most popular offline news source is TV1, with 43% of Indonesians saying that's where they go for their news. Second most popular offline source is Kompas, the newspaper Kompas. Kompas is also popular for online news consumption in Indonesia. It comes second just after detik.com. Detik.com. By the way, if you're Indonesian, please feel free to leave a comment about my pronunciation of Indonesian words. So the big question, do Indonesians trust the news? No, they don't. 35% of Indonesians say they trust the news. This is even lower than what Australians say. Australians trust, about 40% of Australians trust the news. Indonesians' trust in news has been declining. It's been about 39% year after year. It declined to 35% 2024. It's said in the report that it's probably due to contentious nature of content in news this year because of the election. But okay, so out of all of the news brands in Indonesia, which ones are the most trusted? Turns out Kompas and TVRI are the most trusted news brands in Indonesia. 61% of Indonesians said that they're the brands they go to for their news, the most trusted brands. Surprisingly, at least for me, CNN comes in next, where 60% of Indonesians say they trust CNN. The Digital News Report, having digital in its name, obviously has a focus on the digital. The survey was an online survey, so it naturally was filled out by people who had access to the internet. Where Indonesia has a internet penetration in the mid-70s, this means that a very large minority of Indonesians were not gathered, or data from them was not gathered in this survey. So we need to keep that in mind when we're looking at this data. The Digital News Report gets its data from a survey, and naturally, like all surveys, it doesn't literally ask everybody in the whole country what they think. It gets a sample. And if we think about it, asking literally everybody in Indonesia, a country with over 270 million people across thousands of islands, it'd be a literally impossible task. So for this Digital News Report in Indonesia, it was a representative survey and 2008 people took part in it. If you're Indonesian, I'd love to know what you think. Do you agree with the results from the Digital News Report? Just in case you want to check it out, the link is in the description, and let me know what you think. Terima kasih banyak.
Ah, that's cold. Oh my god, my shirt wet.